Have you ever wondered what would happen if the greatest slave revolt in history actually succeeded? Imagine a world where Rome burned, not by the hands of barbarians,
but by the very chains it forged. This is the story of the Thracian king who brought the Republic to its knees and built a new Europe.
The wind howls over the Strait of Messina, but today it carries hope. The Cilician pirate fleet emerges from the mist, honoring their bargain with the Gladiator general. Thousands of desperate souls cheer from the beaches of Rhegium. They are not trapped anymore. Spartacus orders the boarding immediately, leaving Crassus and his legions staring at empty shores. The crossing to Sicily changes the war's gravity. The island, already simmering with unrest, welcomes the rebel army not as invaders, but as the liberators they prayed for. In Rome, the Senate Hall erupts in chaos. The news of Spartacus escaping the trap shatters their confidence. Crassus is stripped of command, humiliated by his failure to contain the threat. Sicily becomes the fortress of the rebellion. Spartacus establishes a new capital at Syracuse, seizing the granaries that feed the Roman Republic. The grain shipments to Rome stop instantly. Hunger grips the eternal city. The mob riots in the Forum, demanding bread, while the patricians barricade themselves in their villas. The Republic is choking. The Senate begs Pompey to return from Spain, but the seas are now patrolled by the Cilician pirates, allies of the slave king. Rome is isolated, starving, and terrified. Winter of 71 BC is spent training. This is no longer a ragtag group of gladiators. Spartacus drills his men into professional phalanxes, equipping them with captured Roman steel. He creates a meritocracy. Former slaves become officers based on skill, not birth. The army of Sicily grows to 100,000 strong, fueled by vengeance. Spring brings the invasion. The rebel fleet lands at Ostia, the port of Rome. There is no long march from the south. Spartacus strikes directly at the throat of the enemy. The remaining Roman legions, underprepared and demoralized, form a hasty defense line outside the city walls. They are mostly raw recruits, old men, and terrified city guards. Spartacus rides to the front. He wears no purple robes, only his gladiator armor. The sight of him alone causes some of the Roman conscripts to drop their weapons. The Battle of Ostia is short. The disciplined rebel phalanx crushes the center line. The Roman flanks collapse. It is not a battle, it is a slaughter of the old order. By sunset, the gates of Rome are breached. Smoke rises from the Campus Martius. The slaves within the city rise up, turning the capital into a chaotic war zone. The Senate flees north, abandoning the city they ruled for centuries. Rome falls not to a foreign king, but to the very tools it used to build its empire. Spartacus walks through the Forum. He forbids the burning of the library, but allows the looting of patrician villas. He declares all slaves in Italy free by decree of the sword. The news spreads across the Mediterranean. In Greece, Egypt, and Gaul, enslaved populations look to Rome with new eyes. The myth of Roman invincibility is dead. Pompey finally arrives from Spain, landing in Genoa. He gathers the remnants of the Senate and the northern legions. The civil war is not over, it has just evolved. But Pompey faces a dilemma. His soldiers are tired, and many are mercenaries who see the wealth Spartacus has redistributed. Loyalty begins to fracture within the Roman ranks. Spartacus does not wait for Pompey to march south. He leaves a garrison in Rome and marches north to meet him. The final showdown will happen on the plains of Etruria. The Battle of Etruria is the bloodiest day in ancient history. Pompey's tactical genius clashes with Spartacus's sheer ferocity and numerical superiority. The Gallic cavalry, led by General Crassus, flanks Pompey's legions. They smash into the rear guard, causing catastrophic panic among the Romans. Pompey realizes the battle is lost. He flees towards the Alps, intending to escape to Germany, but is captured by a scouting party of freed gladiators. With Pompey captured and Crassus disgraced, the resistance crumbles. The Roman Republic effectively ceases to exist. A new political entity begins to take shape. Spartacus calls a council of nations in Rome. Thracians, Gauls, Germans, and Italians sit together. They do not want an empire. They want a confederation of free states. The city of Rome is depopulated. Many former masters flee, while former slaves return to their homelands or settle on the farmlands they once worked in chains. The economy collapses initially. Without slave labor, the massive estates cannot function. A new system of paid labor and small farming communities emerges slowly from the chaos. Spartacus refuses the title of king. He takes the title Protector of the Free. He organizes a standing army to defend the new liberty against foreign threats. The Latin language survives, but it blends rapidly with Gallic and Thracian dialects. A new hybrid culture develops, less focused on law and order, more on tribal honor and freedom. 5 years later, the Parthian Empire to the east sees an opportunity. Without Roman legions to hold the border, they invade Syria and Judea. Spartacus ignores the east. He believes Rome overextended itself. He focuses on solidifying Italy, Gaul, and Spain into a defensive pact. The territories of the east are left to their own fate. Julius Caesar, a young, ambitious politician, realizes his path to power is blocked. He attempts a counter-coup in Rome with a small band of loyalists. The coup fails miserably. Caesar never conquers Gaul. He is a relic of a dead system. He is exiled to Rhodes, where he spends his life writing bitter memoirs. Without the Roman Empire, Christianity spreads differently. It travels east into the Parthian Empire and south into Africa, but struggles to penetrate the pagan stronghold of Spartacus's Europe. The technological advancements of Rome, aqueducts, concrete, roads, stall. The new confederation values freedom over infrastructure. Europe enters a darker, albeit freer, age earlier. However, the absence of mass slavery drives innovation in other ways. Water mills and wind power are developed faster to replace human muscle. Spartacus dies in 55 BC, not in battle, but of old age in his villa in Capua. His funeral is attended by kings of Gaul, Germany, and the consuls of free Italy. Without a central emperor, the Confederation struggles to maintain unity. Local warlords begin to carve out their own territories. The Europe of nations forms centuries early. The city of Rome remains a symbolic capital, but never regains its population of 1 million. It becomes a city of ruins and gardens, a monument to hubris. The Germanic tribes, never pushed by Roman expansion, settle peacefully. The catastrophic migrations never happen, for the civilization already belongs to them. The concept of empire becomes a dirty word. Political philosophy focuses on federation and autonomy. The centralized state is seen as an evil of the past. 200 years later, an invasion from the east arrives, the Huns. But they face a Europe of fortified, independent warrior states, not a decaying, overstretched empire. The Huns are repelled at the Danube. The coalition of the free, heirs of Spartacus, proves that free men fight harder than conscripts defending a distant emperor. The cultural legacy is profound. The Latin tongue evolves differently, blending into a Creole with Germanic dialects. The gladiatorial games were abolished immediately by Spartacus. The Colosseum was never built. Instead, grand theaters and public forums for debate defined the architecture. Slavery did not disappear entirely, but it changed. It became serfdom centuries earlier. The brutal chattel slavery of Rome is remembered as the Dark Age. By the year 1000 AD, Europe is more fragmented but more egalitarian. Kings have less power. Councils and local assemblies have more. The Renaissance begins in Syracuse, not Florence. The preserved texts of the Greeks, protected by the Thracian scholars, spark a rebirth of logic and science. The New World is discovered later, and not by imperial fleets seeking gold, but by traders seeking new markets. The colonization is less brutal, more trade-focused. Spartacus's revolt taught the world one lesson that stuck. No empire is eternal, and the chains of the oppressed are the weapons of the oppressor's destruction. Today, statues of Spartacus stand in every major European city. He is not remembered as a rebel, but as the founding father of European liberty. The Roman eagle is a symbol of tyranny, displayed only in museums as a warning. The Thracian griffin is the symbol of justice and courage. History is written by the victors, and in this age, it was written by the slaves. It is a story of freedom.